All right, I just turned us on.
Okay.
Okay, so today in the video, I have Michael, his wife Maria, his son-in-law Kenny. You guys, everybody that's watching it, you met Michael and Maria before. We did one video before. And so we are doing a follow-up now because of all the improvements. And I think what's really important about this video, it's not just talking about the improvements, it's talking about before the improvements. So after starting together and before getting improvements, you were continuing to worsen at an alarming rate.
Yes.
And so for everybody that's out there, hang in, right? We know the treatability of this disease, it doesn't change how scary things are when they're spiraling out. Okay, so I'll hand it over to you guys. Tell us what's been going on.
I'll start then. So last we were here 6 weeks ago. I had my SOTs for 2 types of Lyme, and I was feeling good when I left. And then I got sick and had to go in the hospital. And while in the hospital, my progression increased a lot.
I think a lot of people can relate to that fact where they get sick with something different and then it causes motor neuron symptoms to get a lot worse.
So before that, I could stand and pivot and move my arms really well and speak well. But after that, I lost the ability to stand, and now my arms got weaker, so lifting them was harder, and I felt like the breath was leaving my, diaphragm area, so my voice got weaker and weaker, and you could hardly hear me a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
But since these 2 weeks here, with the astrocyte treatments, the other day by accident, when I was being picked up by my son-in-law, I was able to hold on to him but stand for the first time on my own. This morning I could wiggle my left toes, and I feel like my breath is deeper and my voice is stronger. So that's just after 2 weeks back here.
I knew the other day when I came in, I could hear the difference in your voice. It's like your voice got louder and fuller.
Right.
And so that was the first time when you came back in and said that you were standing up. Kenny, you were doing the lifting, but Michael, you were able to put more weight on your own legs. And again, I could hear it in your voice, and what had happened around the same time, you had let me know focus, concentration, and mood. Will you tell us about that part?
Yes, so not only could I stand, but I could direct my feet from my head, and the message got to my feet for the first time, I think, a long time, maybe a year. And I was able to put both feet down, lock my knees, and stand. So that was different. Kenny felt it, and I felt it. And this morning, Maria saw it. So.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Okay, focus and concentration. The reason I came to that, I think it's an area that a lot of people do not understand about motor neuron disease. The way that it's looked at for anybody that doesn't have it, it affects motor neurons. I think what most people don't recognize is the impact that it has on fatigue, on the ability to think clearly, to focus. And so what I hear from a lot of people as they're starting to get better, I can think more clearly, I can move around. You had enough energy that this last Saturday, you guys went out. I think, Maria, you told me it was
three different times, yeah. Usually one time and I'm done. I come home at 8, they go out again, but I have to rest. This time, I think we went shopping.
And then we went to the bookstore.
We went to the bookstore, we went out to eat.
And I kept saying to him, are you sure? You sure you want to go out? Are you not feeling tight? He's like, no, I want to go. I want to go. Yes, we went to a little beach.
Now, here's what happened before this visit. The hospitalization, as you described it, and kind of spiraling out with this disease. You had 2 options, right? Option number 1 is just continue to try and get better. But option number 2, and I think one that oftentimes people would consider, just climb into bed, cry, and be done. And so you could have. Instead, you decided to come back. You decided to show up. You decided to keep moving forward. And here you are, a very short period of time from being in the hospital and being so debilitated with the option to throw your hands up in the air and then coming over and now getting all these improvements. And to the point that you're making about straightening out your feet, having improvements that are so significant, it's like a year ago.
Right.
It takes a lot. For everybody that's watching this video, anybody that we already know from being here, they get it. For a lot of people, I'm sure that they do, but I think there's a lot of people that they don't realize how hard it is when you have this disease and you're getting worse to still keep your head in the game and decide that you can keep moving forward.
Exactly, because every day you get up and you try and do something that you could do, and all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. But when you're reversing, you start doing things. Sometimes you don't even realize it, but you do. And then you're like, wait a minute, I couldn't do that. I can do that now. And it seems small, but it's big because, I mean, the progression happens slowly, sort of. It feels fast. But when you start feeling the other way, it's totally different. And it gives you a lot of hope. It brightens your day, gives you energy. The fog lifts a little bit, and you see the future.
Mm-hmm.
You know other folks that are getting better.
I do.
So we were just talking about the fact that a lot of people here text each other.
Oh, yeah.
So we were just talking about, let me think about this. We were just talking about Craig.
Yes.
And the fact that he was getting better. We were just talking about the new look at motor neuron. You know, I like to call this the new face of ALS. Always what I think about now, I used to always refer to the 2021 study out of Israel talking about the reversibility. But I think the big news now is the fact that even Dr. Bedlack out of Duke has described this as a reversible disease. So the fact that we know so many people that are seeing improvement, the fact that, Michael, now you're one of them.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Is pretty great. Well, again, I remember towards the beginning of this whole thing, Maria, you and I talking, and you saying to me, Michael is getting so much worse. Mm-hmm. You know, when would we expect changes? Mm-hmm. It's hard to know for anybody that's watching this. We've been working for about 6 months. Yeah. So just kind of getting a sense for anybody that's watching it. And then even though you're describing these as little changes and moving your toes today, for example, I mean, that's huge. My expression for this, motor neurons, they either wake up in the morning and decide to go to work or they don't, right? Mm-hmm. They're either working or they're not. The fact that things are turning on changes everything.
That's right.
You and Cindy this week were like the two big folks when it comes to all these improvements. You were already showing improvements last week, and then this week the standing, that with assistance, but standing is totally different.
It's huge.
Yeah. Anything else? So anything else that you guys want to say as far as other improvements? I know again you're involved with all the lifting.
Yeah.
Yep. Anytime he needs me to lift him up, I just pick him up and get him to where he is.
Everybody needs a Kenny.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed him being able to hold his weight more. Like in the past when he first started, he was able to stand, pivot. Now it's almost all just me lifting. But as the past couple of days, he's been able to actually apply pressure down where he stands up.
That's crazy. So good.
Yeah. It's cool seeing how fast it's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. All right. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for being on the video. You know, always for me, my goal is to make sure we reframe this disease.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
One person at a time, just watching these changes, watching these improvements, absolutely, and making sure everybody's really clear about it. I really appreciate you doing the video. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to say before I turn the video off.
Just that we love you.
Yes.
Oh, look, right back at you.
And this is the place you want to be.
Come to Florida.
Thank you guys. I'll see you next time around.
Yep.